Okay, check, test, 1, 2, 3. I'm Glenn at COAF Field Team on YouTube, and this round, yours truly. Well, we had a little technical difficulties trying to get our live stream working, but it looked like I had a little power problem. One of the power strips was overheating, so I ended up kicking off the switcher. So I think I got it fixed, and I think we're just going to go right into what we were talking about earlier, which was kayak fishing preparations for the upcoming warm weather season that's going to be just around the corner. And so I want to start out with just, we'll go talk about the kayak, and in particular a depth finder that yours truly likes to use on his lightweight Heritage kayak. So let me go switch this over and let's start.
And bottom line, it's connected pretty good. We just use these little paracords and our fancy knots, and it stays in place for what we're doing. And then we use this transducer here. That's just the suction cup that goes on the bottom, and that's pretty much it. Pretty portable. All right, let's see if we can catch something off some structure this round. All right, so before we hit the lake, gotta stop for some coffee at the racetrack. And Breakfast of Champions, normally go with fudge rounds, but it was 2 for $1, so we ended up getting glazed donut sticks too. Tasty. All right, we're gonna go check it out, see if we can find that little brush pile using this depth finder, and maybe get something. Okay, so we're just gonna trail a little while we look for this brushy spot. Hopefully we can find it here shortly. Alright, you can see some stuff on the bottom here. Something holding pretty low. It's about 12 or 11 feet deep. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of bait fish in the water, it looks like. So maybe we'll just kind of bottom bounce here. Let's go ahead and back paddle this spot. Alright, there's some brush. We're just going to do some trolling now while we look for some structure. If we find anything, we'll start jigging off of it, but for now we're just going to go get some exercise in. What do you say? Okay, we got to hit trolling. Let's see if he's on there. Oh yeah, he's on there. He may be a keeper. We'll go measure him. He just kicked out a shad. Alright, first one of the day. Trolling. Alright, he's just short, just shy of 10 inches, so we'll have to let him go. Okay, we got that first fish of the day. It was fortunately an undersized one, so we'll have to let him go. But we'll go back to trolling and see if we can find some brush on the way while we're just kind of out and about here on the lake. Okay, and while we're out and about, what we're doing is heading to this one point. It's like a little shallow area that sticks out into the water. We know it's here since when the water or the lake was really low. I remember walking out here and fishing it. So all we're doing now is just kind of looking for that little structure, and maybe we might find something kind of playing around there. Started about 20 feet deep behind us, and now we're in about 18 and a half. And it looks like there's a bunch of fish underneath us right now, at least some bait fish. So hopefully we might get a hit here soon. Water, or the depth, is starting to slowly increase.
Okay, so some of the key things that I wanted to tell you about in this trip is I'm using this depth finder, and I'm using it to basically find some key structure that is just sticking off the bottom. This time of year, brush is not as thick as it normally is, and I'm able to take advantage of the depth finder and see some different, I guess, anomalies that you see on the bottom. And when I would drag I was using a slab and jig rig, sabiki style, I was able to come back to a particular location and try fishing it again. And that worked out really well, being able to just mark a spot, go back around, do that bounce, and be able to pull either a white bass, yellow bass. I think I got some catfish as well, and even some crappie. So let's see if I can switch this out real quick and go to the next one right here. So this is that portable fish finder that I was using earlier. And in this case, it's made up of a dry box, a Pelican dry box. I've got some batteries in there that I connect to the fish finder itself, and from there I'm able to run it basically about 2-3 trips before I have to go and add some more add new batteries and whatnot. So you can see here's the cable and everything. Here, let me see if I can explain it.
To 8 AA batteries, and then we use this kind of silicone that dries but is easily removed to form a gasket. And this is the power cord to or power that goes to the back of the fish finder, and then this is the section that goes to the transducer. And what happens is we close it, and that pretty much keeps it dry enough to where we don't get any water. It's water resistant. I wouldn't say it's waterproof because there are still some holes here, but so far we've used it over one season going into the second season without any issue. As for the transducer, here's how we use it. We've got it mounted to the bottom of a suction cup, and pretty much that goes to the bottom of the...
And speaking of that suction cup, I took it from I forget what, some kind of car deal or whatever, and I attached it to the transducer. It slips right under the John boat that I use, as well as the Kayak, and I've had no issues with it coming off once I do have it secured there. Additionally, as I was mentioning, I do have a John boat. Because of this rig, I'm able to swap out between taking it to a John boat, to a Kayak, as well as some other kayaks that we have also in the group.
Kayak, and that is our fish finder setup.
Welcome back to StockTroutFishing.com. We're still working on the...
Okay, this one is about a fish stringer. I've got an issue way back when I was using your normal standard fish stringer. And in this case, it's the one that you get with nylon. It's got a little needle-like point to it and a ring on the other end. And what's happening is I was spending a lot of time trying to get the fish on there, and next thing you know, fish gets away. And so I was like, I need to come up with some other rig. So I came up with this first one. It's made of weed eater line, a nail, some parachute cord, a D cord, and I was using that to initially take the place of that stringer that I just mentioned, which, well, you can get them for like $1 or so. So I made this one, kind of let the video run and describe what's happening there, and then I'll shift back over to, to the other one that I was using.
Video that we are putting together for our trip. We went on to Brockdale Park at Lake Levon this past Thursday. Action was really good there that day, and have a instead of the paracord we're using, just using this weed eater trimmer line. The fish can slide through much easier, and get a chance of tangling is less. And then for this end, we made we took a nail and a piece of paracord and put the paracord on the end and kind of wrapped it right now. We'll probably do shrink tube next time, but we're just making this prototype here. And then we applied the paracord on the end here, put a hole on the end, and we took the stringer, or the weed eater trimmer, and ran it through the back here, and then we made a loop. So what should happen is we pass this through the fish's jaw, and then that goes through the loop and everything, and we can let the fish go to the end of the stringer, to the bobber. And then at the same time, we're able to have this loop, not the paracord itself, but the weed eater trimmer line with that little loop. We'll take it to our D-ring and clamp it on there, and then we'll clamp this back on the Kayak. And so instead of doing the 2 half hitches that we've been doing, we hope to just...
Okay, so that was the It's the one where I use a weed eater, and it's the first prototype that I used. And then later on, I came up with another one that uses a tennis ball, nylon or parachute cord, and some, what do you call them, shower clips. And I was using those to put my fish on the stringer. And the main reason is because I could keep the fish over the kayak, put the clip on there, and then just grab the line and hook it on there. I've since gone to these big safety pins right here. Grab one real quick. Right here, these big laundry safety pins. They work a lot better, but well, let me go ahead and run that video and let you see what I'm talking about. I'd like to bring up another kayak fishing stringer prototype. We're going to call this one Prototype 2. And what we're excited about this one, we were able to try Prototype 1. Had some real good success with that, other than yours truly having a little user error with either not clipping the D-clamp to the bracket on the John boat like we should have, as well as losing hold of the stringer itself as it was slipping through my hands, and oh, by the way, it got away almost, but luckily I was able to grab it. We ran out of D-clamps, but we got this little clamp, and we'll use that to secure to our kayak. Paracord, and this is the color that we used to make some paracord things not too long ago. And then what they suggested was just some kind of stopper to hold the shower curtain clip from coming off the line, and let the fish. So we ran the paracord through the tennis ball, tied it in place, so now we have a float as well. So if it does get away, we can chase it down and grab it, and then we have the rest of the stringer. So this is Kayak Fishing Stringer Prototype 2. And how to use it. So here you are, you've got this connected to the kayak, and let's say we're fighting a fish. Oh yeah, oh, he's on. We get a hold of him. There it is. We'll clip it through its jaw like we normally do, and then while it's unclipped, we'll just grab the stringer. In this case, this will be secured to the kayak, so it's not going to get away from us, and we'll just slide through the clip, paracord through the clip, and let the fish slide the rest of the way, and we'll continue fishing. And there you go, it's stuck. Not going to get off this. Thought about maybe it twisting and all that, but from what we heard from our reader, that they've caught some good amount of stringer of fish without ever losing one or taking off the clipper and whatnot. So we're going to give this one a try next time we go out kayak fishing, or maybe in the John boat. Okay, so that is the one that I was talking about that I pretty much use when I go kayak fishing now. Welcome back to Stock and Trout Fishing. Which is the tennis ball, a D-ring to connect to the rigging on my kayak, and some parachute cord. And then, like I was saying, I'm using, instead of those shower clips, I'm using, excuse me, I'm using these laundry safety pins, and those definitely hold pretty good. Got some pretty good sized catfish on the line, and did not lose them with that. So that is that prototype. So next thing, from a kayak fishing preparation standpoint, I've got to watch the heat on this power deal here, and it may kick me off. So I'm just going to kind of skip through things real quick. This next one, so I mentioned in the kayak that I'm using, I had a depth finder, a portable depth finder. Talked about the prototypes of stringers, and then in this case, the slab and jig rig that I like to use when I'm bottom bouncing. So let me go and switch over to that one right here, and let's go ahead and kick off that video.
I'd like to talk briefly or do a real quick demo on the slab and jig rig where we're tying the crappie jigs onto the main line using a sabiki style.
Okay, to make that slab and jig rig where we tie it sabiki style, the crappie jigs onto the main line. Here's the main line we use, 30-pound test. And then we have 20-pound test. Also have some crazy glue or super glue. And then a crappie jig. In the case of the crappie jig, we'll start things out with taking some of the super glue and applying it to this portion of the crappie jig just to make it last a little bit longer, courtesy of a tip that we learned from Texas Fishing Forum, tarpon fly. And then we'll put in some line about a foot long or so of the crappie jig, and just use a improved clinch knot here. Whatever your favorite knot is will work. In the case of the slab, I'm just going to use this slab here, and it's been tied to the 20-pound section of line. And in this case, it's about a foot or two is what we'll start out with, and then we'll go with about 3 feet of the 30-pound test line and attach it, the two lines together using a uni knot. And then we'll use our slab and jig rig, so it'll be on the bottom. And then, in the case of the slab being on the bottom, and then the crappie jig will be set up just like this. So about maybe a couple of inches. And what happens is when it moves through the water, this stays untangled fairly nicely. And the way we tie it is we'll set one about 18 inches or so from the slab, and then the next one up will go about a foot up, and what we'll do is just tie a overhand knot, but not tighten it, like so. So we'll just have a simple overhand knot, like that. And then we'll take the tag end of the crappie jig and run it through the loop that we made through this overhand knot, and we'll kind of cinch it tight. Okay, and what will then happen is this line that's tag end will bring up the crappie jig all the way to the top, so it's pretty much right there. Right there. And then we'll make about a 1-inch loop and begin making our uni knot. We'll just go about 3-4 wraps around it. Give us a second here. Actually, we'll do about 4 wraps. And we'll pull it tight. What happens then is when you cinch down on the uni knot, it tightens up tight against the main line, and then at that point you pull on the main line and the jig and bring it down to that overhand knot and cinch it nice and tight. And so that gives you about a couple of inches there for that lead like we had shown earlier. And that is it. That is the slab and jig rig. On the one end where we attach it to our swivel, we'll just use a perfection loop right there. All right, and that is it.
Okay, here's the final product. You've got the slab, and then the first crappie jig, about 18 inches from there with that sabiki setup, and then the other one. This is the other. So now we've got 2, and then we've got the perfection loop, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, and that's been a go-to slab and jig style tandem rig that has worked well for yours truly. Similar to that, I've got like the sabiki fly rig where I replaced the crappie jigs with a it's a fly made out of Doritos or Bevita wrappers. The mylar on there makes a great easy to make lure for these sabiki style slab and jig rigs that I like using when I go fishing, especially when I'm bottom bouncing for white bass and what else will be biting. So that said, let's go ahead and let's see if I can get to the next one. This is the about the Heritage Kayak that I like using. Right there, it's the Featherlight, and let's see, right there is the Featherlight, and I'll just kind of quickly talk about it really quick before I get to the last portion of this series. So there is the rig and how I got it loaded into the kayak. So I've got a strap to the front as well as a strap to the stern portion of it. You can see I've got a Railblazer rod holder where I'll place the rod holder in the front or bow of the kayak. And additionally, you can see that I have a kayak leash for the paddle. And right there's that Railblazer. The thing I like about this Railblazer holder is it's got a locking mechanism that allows you to use fly rods as well. So that's really nice. Also, when I have everything prepped, I'll have the kayak and pretty much everything in the kayak so that when I get to where I'm going, I can quickly unload and be out there. Here I'm just showing you the anchor line where I also do double duty and tie or attach my net to it. And it's like a trolley rig, but really just slips through the rigging, and I can set myself as need be depending on the drift as well as how the wind is tending to the kayak. Alright, so that's pretty much all I wanted to get on this one while we have the time. Let me go ahead and shift over to the next video. Okay. So right here, this was back when we had some issues with lake being really low. I'm at Brockdale Park, and here, let me go ahead and run the audio on this one.
Boat, or the kayak. Here's a view of the boat ramp. It's definitely closed. Gates are closed. It'll close to vehicle traffic and whatnot. But bottom line, we were able to use the kayak cart to launch our kayak, and in a short while after paddling a few yards, set out a line and started doing some trolling. And a short while we got a hit. Bring this guy in. What a bruiser! But, still fun to catch, and this kind of kept us busy for the rest of the time while we were out there. Just fishing the point. We were hoping to get some larger ones like we normally do, but I guess we have to make some adjustments as to maybe time and place and whatnot, and fish the point. Maybe try some other times in the day. But bottom line, they weren't very big at all. It was a mix of white bass as well as yellow bass and some small largemouth bass. But overall, still had a good time getting out there, getting workout in, as well as doing some fishing. Jigs or lures that we used a chartreuse and white crappie jig, same one that we used at Livonia Park, or Livonia South Ramp this past weekend. Also used a red-white tube fishing fly that got a few hits as well, but this round they seem to like that chartreuse and white crappie jig. Here's a double. I can't tell if they're bass or white bass this time, but here's a view of what we're paddling in, and it doesn't look so rough, but it actually is fairly rough, but not enough to stop us from going out.
And note the bell that I have attached. That's when I troll from the stern.
The thing we like about Brockdale Park is when you do have the gates open, we can pretty much not use the boat ramp, park the car or the pickup, and launch from there, from the shore, and in a short while you're right into some fish. And here's a yellow bass and a white bass that struck. Later on, we were sitting there working the point, and we would see some shad or at least some bait fish jumping, and we could quickly paddle just on the outskirts of what we thought was a school and start paddling a little bit faster to get the fly moving, and sure enough we'd get that hit. And that happened about 3-4 times. Other than that, we were just blind trolling, fishing a flat line through the different parts of the point. overall it was a pretty fun day, being able to get out there this evening and get around to fishing in. And again, like we like kayak fishing, even if you don't get a fish, you still get a workout in. There's a view of the boat ramp as we're coming in, and we've got the boat or the kayak on the kayak cart, and we're going to head back. And we start heading back, and what we notice is the road's really bumpy, and so with the strap being wet and whatnot, I had a couple of times where it would slip off, so had to stop, reconfigure things and strap it down some more. But then we made one slight adjustment that definitely kept it from slipping, and this is where we put the strap over the little pole that we use for the GoPro, as well as the extension on the kayak cart handle. And when we did that, it didn't slip afterwards. All right, till next time, we'll catch you later, and good luck and good fishing.
Okay, so that was the last of the videos that we wanted to show this round. This is the kayak fishing preparations. Tried doing several live streams earlier today, and we had to get restarted because, well, things overheat and, oh well, things shut down. But I hope the takeaway from these set of kayak fishing videos, preparations for the upcoming warm weather season, just showed the portable Lowrance 3X DSI or something, how I made it into a portable fish finder that I can take on the kayak, as well as remove it and take it to a john boat or to another kayak. So I show that. Also talked on the two different prototypes of stringers that I use. One that started out with weed eater trimmer line, and you thread the stringer through the fish's mouth, and then the one that I currently use, which uses a tennis ball, parachute cord, a D clip to clip onto the kayak rigging, and then I was using shower clips, but I've since gone to these babies right here, this safety pin, courtesy of a viewer that said, hey, use these instead, the fish don't come off. So you hook the fish on, take the line, put it in here, close it, and then just throw it back there. You keep the fish in the kayak area, so in the cockpit area, so if the fish comes off, it falls in back into the cockpit instead of in the water. And then finally, just talked of the slab and jig rig, or sabiki style, that I like using when I do a tandem rig. Usually one slab and 1 to 2 to 3. I used to do 5 total, so 4 crappie jigs or 4 sabiki Dorito flies, as well as that slab. But now I just go to about maybe 1 or 2 jigs along with the slab. And then lastly, just wanted to show when the lake was low, our local lake was low, Lake Levon. They were closing all the gates and whatnot. I was able to just make a little kayak cart that was portable enough that I could take the kayak down to the river or down to the lake, launch, and just put the cart, disassemble it, throw it back into the kayak, go do some fishing, come back in, reassemble it really quickly, and head back up the boat ramp, up out to the front gate of the park, in this case Brogdale Park at Levon. And from there I was able to go, well, at least get some fishing in, even though the lake levels were low and the parks were closed. So thanks for stopping by. Some upcoming things that we have going. Remember, there's going to be a trout derby and trout stockings over here at Town Lake in McKinney. There's going to be a lot of folks there. Additionally, here in Collin County, there's going to be another lake, or at least pond, Frontier Park Pond over there in Prosper. They're going to have a derby as well as chances of getting some trout and whatnot. So keep that in your back pocket. And the next week is going to be Murphy, just again in Collin County. So we got a lot of stuff happening here, trout-wise, an opportunity. And if you do get the opportunity to just head up north to the Blue River, Oklahoma, at the Blue River, and they've got the President's Weekend Trout Derby there. Well, they'll stock some bruiser-sized trout there, and there's some good opportunity to catch a fish or two there. Additionally, you got the Texas Fly Fish and Brew Festival coming up, I think, next weekend in Mesquite. Not gone to that one, but I heard some really good things there. I think some tickets are available. We pretty much wait to to close out the season and shift over from the cold weather species or cold water species like trout and whatnot, and shift over to warm water soon after TRWD Fly Fest, Tarrant Regional Water District Fly Fest over there on the banks of the Trinity by the Acme Brick headquarters. We've been there every year since it started, not missed one, and hopefully we'll be back again here in the near future in March to go check out the big trout contest, as well as see some experts show you how to do some fly fishing as well as fly tying, and then there's some good opportunity to do other things. And oh, by the way, it's free, so you can't beat that. All right, all for now. Next time we'll catch you all later. Good luck and good fishing.